Hello everyone, my name is Dennis with DonkSec or DonkSecurity, where your heart desires. And in today's video, we'll be doing TryHackMe's FIN7 Clouded Judgment tabletop exercise right here. So we're going straight into the exercise. Apparently, if the longer I take, the less points I get. So we gotta be a little bit quick regarding this, but no, it's all good. We're just here to learn initial access. So it seems that uh, we see someone. So it's a ticket from the HR portal containing attachment labeled year-end bonus plans PDF. Open the doc and note the file appeared blank. No activity yet, no malware alerts being generated. Not observed any additional system changes. You must decide how to investigate and respond to the initial indicator. So I guess this is our log or artifact right here. Receipts from unknown for yourorg.com. Emma Taylor. She's like, she opens the PDF, but nothing happens. So then how would I triage this event? Critical, moderate, informational, high severity, low severity. So I'm thinking somewhere in between uh, informational or low severity. Uh, Informational because obviously no business impact yet confirmed. Low severity as it's a anomaly because someone sent a PDF, malicious PDF. I'm gonna classify it as a low severity, so it was moderately effective. The best one was moderate incident, obviously, which is weird because there's no unusual process execution and external connections on a critical server, and this is the thing with AI, like it doesn't really make sense, or they haven't configured AI. You're saying that given the unusual process execution and external connections on a critical server, but the narrative literally says that your monitoring tools indicate no unusual outbound traffic, no malware alerts are being generated at this time, and I've not observed any additional system changes. So a little bit weird, but yeah, I guess that is the most effective. But I'm still sticking with my low severity answer right here. Uh, and then obviously it has an analysis of of all the other alerts or the not the alerts, the answers that I could have done. Let's continue to the next phase. Uh, this reasoning actually says low severity event and limiting notification provides a cautious, measured response, focusing on further investigation without creating unnecessary alarm. Okay, what would I do to investigate further at this stage? Yeah, this answer I definitely agree with and is the one that I selected. Isolate and retrieve the attached PDF from the email quarantine. Conduct static and dynamic analysis in an isolated sandbox and compare its hash for known IOCs. Definitely is the best answer, and it practically does say it's the most effective. Reason why is because we need to see if that PDF is malicious or not, and then we need to conduct like static and dynamic, meaning we test the PDF to see its impact, which is dynamic analysis, and we tested via static, just like the outbound, like the surface of that PDF. Then we're going to compare its hash with known IOCs. Basically, if this hash is malicious on VirusTotal or any threat intelligence platform, then it's going to show, as long as it's not a 0-day, of course. Let's continue to the next phase. It's now 10:05, less than an hour after the initial emails opened. Okay, so now we observe security alerts. So now we're, going in that medium or high or critical severity. She's right here, multiple failed authentication attempts using the same account. Uh, Notes unsigned executable running with elevated privileges. And then we have our artifacts right here. So new process name. Seems like RDP login type, new process name. Yeah, I would definitely. Yeah, I was like between these two right here. I would want to isolate her workstation from the corporate network as soon as possible, so like threat actor doesn't laterally spread across different workstations across the network, and then removing the endpoint virtual private VPN access, basically doing the same thing, removing that lateral movement across the network. Says the best here was revoke all active sessions and reset creds for her, and then any users identified as having received or interact with emails from HR. Uh, This one, any users identified having received or interact with HR, definitely is a good one. But if you reset creds for her, you could be just resetting creds for the threat actor because he's already on the workstation. I know if you remove all active sessions as well, but what if he has like another you know method to get into that session again? So that's why I was like, it could be a close second, but I guess TryHackMe listed as most effective right there. Let's continue to the next phase. So what would I do to recover? This one's a little bit self-explanatory. Just to reimage her workstation to a gold master image, meaning that we're, converting back to an image that is super clean and that hasn't been, opened by that malicious PDF, followed by validation with fresh endpoint baseline scans prior to reconnection to any production network segments. So basically, doing after that golden mastered image, then we're making sure that if there's any or if there's not any malware in that endpoint by conducting scanning. So that is the most effective. What escalation is required to the stage? So I'm stuck between A and E right now. We either want to escalate the incident to the executive team with a detailed summary of the incident, or do we just want to engage with our IT leadership, requesting urgent review and lockdown of all privileged service accounts used by finance and operations? So that I think I'm going for A right here. See if this is the best answer, and it is the best answer. Yeah, and then the close second was that executive management team. Reason why it was, in my opinion, the best answer is because we want to make sure that any other lateral movement uh, indicators are not shown in different endpoints of that finance team. So by doing so, we want to escalate to the IT leadership, lockdown of all privileged domain service accounts by that team, and then instruction to suspend delegate access pending containment because we want to contain before we you know remediate. Continue to the next phase. All right, now we have a goal execution, so now we have a different narrative. Okay, now we got containment measures. I observe the sequence is tied to privilege compromise. Okay, now we have finance files, including wire transfers to a different zip archive. Then we have a PowerShell spawning a network connection via outbound. Okay, so data exfiltration to a different cloud storage provider. At the same time, modifying database entries and payments platform, fraudulent transactions. Okay, so data exfiltration and possible financial manipulation. So yeah, then we have all our logs regarding that right there. See our command line, the zip, compressing, I guess, the file path of all the payments to that zip file. Then we have another one, which is the PowerShell.exe, which I believe is the one that is data exfiltration because we're allowing port 443 via protocol TCP. Establishing a connection from the source to the destination, which is the destination of the threat actor most likely. Time created event ID 4688, which if we just look it up, what is event ID 4688? A new process has been created. PowerShell.exe, it's invoking a web request. So basically creating a web request of the URL fileshareglobal.com upload to that zip file. And then another alert's happening. Basically gives us this description, modification attempt on high value transaction fields. So trying to exfiltrate that money and strip basically for PowerShell. Basically, you can always decode this using CyberChef with containing upload logic targeting external IP. So yeah, basically what I just said with the data exfiltration, uploading via that character IP, which is the same IP I said right here. How would I triage this event? So definitely without a doubt, either critical or high. I would say critical without a doubt because the threat actor is trying to get control of the. What? It's somewhat effective? Okay, that's weird. I guess if you don't data, I guess if you are data exfiltration and you're stealing data from the company and you're stealing money from the company, then that's not a critical alert. It's only a medium alert. Weird, but okay. Classify the incident as a contained threat with evidence of lateral movement and potential privilege escalation with the finance. But there is no privilege escalation yet. Like, I mean, there already is privilege escalation. Like, couple two scenarios ago, uh, we're not going to conduct a log review. We already know that the threat actor is data exfiltrating data and is trying to manipulate the financial money of the organization by sending it to his address or whatever. So no clue how that would not be critical, but it is AI, as I said before. It says particularly if an attacker control has not been clearly established beyond an indication of privilege escalation, which AI doesn't really make sense there because the threat actor has high value finance files, including wire transfer authorizations and account data from the actual payments of the organization, and that are being compressed into an archive by running a process. So that I'll take that as a win right there. You just click continue to next phase right there. So what would I do to investigate further at this stage? Obviously, either between C or E, my opinion. We can, correlate all the logs to reconstruct the timeline and scope of the data exploitation activities by that same process. Or we could, create the AD logs for account usage and lateral authentication attempts, building a map of recent privilege activity across key systems, which I believe this is the correct answer for TryHackMe. But if this was actually happening, I would definitely do correlating all these logs, which is always also somewhat effective, I guess. Oh no, wait, okay, I was looking at the other one. So yeah, most effective is correlating all those logs and then scoping of data exfiltration activities of that. So yeah, definitely that's self-explanatory. TryHackMe's definitely got that spot on. Due to it contain and eradicate the threat. Oh, excuse me, Nick. I'm sorry with between these three answers. I don't think it's B because okay, we're gonna disable the service account and then force all log off session with the account, which good with containing and eradicating. But A talks about blocking the outbound connections to the IP, which threat actors can easily like spoof the IP, which is really is not sufficient. If you block the domain though, that's pretty sufficient as well, since that's like the domain that they're exfiltrating their data from. But you could also make a point with C here, right? Because if you isolate from the network, uh, that IP and that domain doesn't really matter because you're isolating the network of that device. However, you're also isolating the network of all finance subnets and external routes to halt ongoing data transfers and contain attacker activity, which just depends on the organization. So I'm gonna go C here. It could be wrong. This is the only answer. I'm like, maybe. So yeah, it is effective. Compared to most effective, which I guess was the one I was talking about, the B one, which was the most effective. But yeah, reason why is because uh, if you just isolate the that from the network, then the threat actor can't do nothing about it. And that I literally just said this, but blocks the IP address and that domain as well. So continue to the next phase right here. What recovery actions I would do? Pretty self-explanatory. Conduct a rebuild of that workstation from a gold image, and then we want to follow that by a restoration of the old data from backups, and then make sure that the data from those backups pass those integrity validation checks. Reason why is because if you change something from that data, then it'll give you a new hash. So if you compare that hash to a threat intelligence platform, then majority of the time it's a clean hash slash file. Obviously, as I said before, it doesn't detect zero-day attacks. So continue to the next phase. All right, what escalation is required at this stage? So we do know a breach happened. So I guess this is where we want to escalate to leadership. So I am just by looking at this for like 10 seconds. I'm stuck between A and D. We don't want to engage the cybersecurity response center. We already know we already like did everything we needed, like containing, eradicating it. We don't want to directly to a third party cloud storage, man. It doesn't even make sense. We could escalate to a BC/DR team, but that doesn't really make sense as well. So the main ones I'm thinking about is A and D. A talks about, general counsel, data privacy officer, because we know that there's an exploitation of finance files, so we want to inform, regulatory actions. Or it could be D as well. We escalate to the chief financial officer, board IT committee, provide a incident briefing of what happened, and then unauthorized wire transfers to facilitate immediate decision making. Uh, I would say do D4 first, and then after we escalate to the council. That's what I'm thinking, because we want to make sure that everyone's on board, and of course it's moderately affected. Why would we want to escalate it to a third-party cloud storage vendor? How is that more above than what I answered? Yeah, I guess I was right with this one. It was either that or that. I guess I picked the wrong answer. No worries though. Only escalate to the organization's data privacy officer, and then yeah, so we could do that. And then okay, I guess we completed the exercise. Was it 78 out of 100? Not too bad. Not too bad. Says here, even though I got a 78 out of 100, following the attack, your company successfully contained the incident, so that's good. We isolated the compromised systems, we rebuilt the infrastructure, we restored data from trusted backups. Leadership was promptly engaged, coordinated handover to crisis management team was made, resulting in proactive internal and external communications, including a carefully prepared media notice regarding the breach. And then, well done on your decisive actions throughout the exercise. Continue running regular tabletop exercise to ensure your response remains effective and resilient. So even though I got a 70 out of 100, we still passed. That's all that matters. We have our times overview. Longest phase was 5 minutes. Shortest phase 1 minute. So we have 78 out of 100. Strongest phase, obviously detection and investigation. Weakest areas, triaging. 38% most effective detection and investigation. So yeah, pretty cool tabletop exercise. And yeah, even though we got a 70 out of 100, we still passed. So that's still a big win in my book. And yeah, like always, if you did learn something today, make sure to drop a subscribe, a like, a comment, and like always, I'll see you when I see you in my next video. Peace out. Thank you for watching.